believe that individuals accept awards on behalf of a team. And this is no exception. And so I'm going to spend a little time thanking the individuals that are truly responsible for all of the great work. But before I do that, I want to acknowledge a colleague who passed away last year. For our Pfizer family, many of you remember Andy Gillard, who was the head of our government investigations group. And Andy was an unbelievable human being, a complete mensch, just a phenomenal person. And I bring up Andy because we had a very good relationship, good working relationship. We were friends, but we weren't super close. But in his last days, we had some real conversations. We shared things that we did not share the entire time of working together. And one of those things, I talked to him about the death of my brother, who died of cancer at 48. And I talked to him about 3 months later, losing my father. And so in that, I was reminded of a conversation that I had with my dear friend, mentor and brother, former Attorney General Peter Harvey. And Peter, when I was going through both of these deaths, he recommended something to me. He said, there's a book that I want you to read, and that book is called Days of Grace. It was the memoirs of Arthur Ashe. And I am in a conversation with Andy, probably 4 days before his passing. I shared with him something from this book. And so many of you know Arthur Ashe was a great tennis player, diagnosed with AIDS in 1992, at a time when AIDS, we knew very little. And it was because of a blood transfusion. And so in this memoir, he recounts a story of a fan. And the fan writes him a letter and says, why did God have to select you for this bad disease? And he turns to the fan and he says, look, 50 million children start off playing tennis. 5 million learn to play. 500,000 learn professional tennis. 50,000 come to the circuit. Of that 50,000, 5,000 may reach a Grand Slam, 50 reach Wimbledon, 4 reach the semifinals, and 2 reach the finals. And so he said, when I was holding that cup in my hand, I never asked God, why me? So now that I am in pain, how can I ask God, why me? And I tell you this story because it was in that moment, in that conversation with Andy, we both realized that we were people of faith. And so many times in our professional lives, regardless of the deity that you worship, the God that you worship, whether it's Allah or Yahweh or Jesus, we are reluctant as professionals to acknowledge that underpinning. But as we all sit here, we know there are moments for which that is the only answer for all of us. And I say that because I started my remarks by saying that there are no individual awards, and that there are only awards that are accepted on behalf of a team. And so for me to stand here, I have to first acknowledge the captain of my team. Now that I've acknowledged the captain, I can quickly pivot to the rest of the roster. So obviously Carl Wessel is extremely special to me. He helped kind of shepherd my journey at Pfizer. It's been phenomenal. The other person that I want to acknowledge from Pfizer, who is not here, is our General Counsel, Doug Lankler, who has been an incredible supporter of the AGA Africa program, supporter of my career, and unfortunately couldn't be here because of a conflict. And then my other members of the Pfizer family are here. As I look out, I see Laura, I see Eric, I see Debbie, I see Sally, I see Kyle, all here in support, and I thank you. And then the next individual that I have to call out is the Executive Director of the Attorney General Alliance, and I'm going to ask her to stand, and that's Karen White.
Go ahead.
Please. I asked her to stand because this was Karen's vision. The Attorney General Alliance Africa, AGA does work with all of the state AGs in the country and has branched out and has done a tremendous job with some international work. But it was Karen who really pushed and shepherded the idea of doing work on the continent. And we started off with 2 countries and we're in 10 countries on the continent. It was because her vision and her commitment and willingness to push forward that we're here. So thank you, Karen. Finally, I want to also thank Appleseed. What an amazing organization. And Raylan, you did a phenomenal job outlining the important work that Appleseed does. And so it's an honor to be on the board. It's an honor to serve. It's an honor to be aligned with an organization that's committed to social justice. There are too many organizations that are committed to other pursuits, and it's easy to be committed to other pursuits. And it's hard work, it's meaningful work, and I'm privileged to be a part of it. In addition, I want to call out a few names of some AGs, because it's called the Attorney General Alliance for a reason. And the AGs are the lifeblood of the organization, and their participation in the Attorney General Africa program is what makes the program move. And so you heard from AG Tish James earlier, what a force of nature, what a wonderful human being, and she's committed to AGA Africa. AG Aaron Ford of Nevada, Keith Ellison of Minnesota, Kwame Raoul of Illinois, and of course, not an AG, but better than an AG, my good friend, the fabulous district attorney from the Bronx, Darcel Clark. I also want to acknowledge John Blakey. John, please stand. John Blakey's a manager at Pfizer, and everybody that knows me in here knows John, because he keeps all the trains moving on time. He never complains. He's just that guy, and I really appreciate you, and I appreciate all the work that you've done, not just for Pfizer, but for AGA Africa as well. There's a number of former AGs that are here. They not only work on the AGA Africa program, but they do work for Pfizer. And they're my brain trust. I rely on them. I mentioned him once before, but I will call out his name again, the former Attorney General of New Jersey, Peter Harvey. Another supporter of AGA, supporter of Pfizer, former Attorney General of Rhode Island, Patrick Lynch. The phenomenal former Attorney General of Illinois, Lisa Maddox. He's not here, but I have to acknowledge him the former Attorney General of Georgia, Thurgood Baker, and my dear friend, the fabulous former Attorney General of the great state of Florida, Pam Bondi. At least I not forget my brother from another mother, from the great state of Maryland, Doug Gansky. I also want to acknowledge John Bruning from the great state of Nebraska, Patricia Madrid from the great state of New Mexico, and her better half, Mr. Mike Messina. And there's just a handful of other folks that really make the engine work. Some of them at law firms, Milton Marquis, Cozen, Devon Smoyer, Ed Burbach, who hails from Texas. So if you want to know about the impeachment trial. And the fantastic, tireless Lynn Ross. And all the law firms that are here, Dan Donovan and Harold Franklin and Ted Hester from King and Spalding, Samantha Badlam from Ropes, my friend Melvany, all the law firms that have contributed and come here tonight, all in the interest of justice, I just really want to thank you. And finally, my AGA Africa family. The AGA Africa program, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And during COVID, we kept going. So, and we did all the programs virtually. Folks had to get up oftentimes 3 in the morning, obviously dressed in your COVID attire, which means dressed from the waist up. And they did this tirelessly. And I just want to acknowledge them. Mr. John Adozier, who's here. Chief Anthony Adigby, who's not here. Chooks Anambra, John Akebu, Lillian, Florence, and Fred, all of the AGA Africa family. I want to acknowledge you and thank you. We've done some tremendous work under Karen's leadership. In just over 7 years, just to give you a sense of the amount of work. We've put on over 175 workshops with 5,600 delegates and trained over 17,000 individuals. Just a tremendous job. And so I am very honored to be here tonight. I'm very honored to be amongst greatness, amongst Ray Lynn and Maya Wiley and Abstentia. It's truly an honor. And so I thank all of you from the depths of my heart, because you could be anywhere, but you're here. And so I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Oh my goodness, I forgot my good friend from the great state of Alaska, Jim. Please.